I'm pretty sure I'm gonna make a ton of body techs cringe at this video. But there's also gonna be a little bit of hope for the guy who is inexperienced at doing paint and body work. And in this video, we need to touch up a few spots on the Mustang, but we're not just gonna paint it. No, of course. We're going to paint it and then weather it so that we keep the full aesthetic. Because look, we can't have one brand new looking panel on this thing, okay? We need to maintain this. Now, if you are new, this isn't a barn find. It's not a survivor car. I put the patina on this car like this. So this is man-made patina, as you would kind of say. So there are a few trouble areas on the car. Specifically, right off the top of my head, the quarter panels. So the quarter panels, they get peppered by the front wheels. And because they get peppered by the front wheels, those are the ones that are in most need of the most attention. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna go pull our resources, our paint that we have ready out for this thing. We're gonna get some trash bags so that we can cover the wheels because we don't want to get oversprayed. We do like to keep them shiny. Let's keep them shiny. I want to keep the wheels shiny, but we're gonna patina everything else. So I'll show you what we need. All right, so this is basically what we're going to be using for our little paint touch-up project. Okay, the car is not clear coated, so just keep that in mind. We have 150 grit sandpaper. We have some 80 grit sandpaper, and we got some Scotch-Brite pad. Okay, we all also have some isopropyl alcohol, which will help us clean things up. And then we have our assorted patinaed paint, okay? And let me explain kind of the colors, right? Because we have Wimbledon white, obviously, that is the color of the car. I have this Torado red, I believe. Let's see, what's it called? Anyway, it's not going to focus, but dark Toreador red. This will closely resemble like the red primer, but aged kind of when we go to coat it. We don't coat it very dark because if you coat it dark, this is what it looks like dark. It's going to come out like this maroon color like we have the pipe bender. So we don't want to spray it too many layers for this, okay? So this is kind of the mimic that weathered red primer that Ford had. Then the gold kind of comes through on the peaks. I liked having this gold come through on the peaks. It almost kind of makes it look like the car may have been recolored, or it also kind of acts as like, hey, by the way, this is the first layer. When you go to sanding down, if you start seeing gold, well, guess what? Red's gonna come right after that, and if you get through the red, well, the red, you know, is what's on the other side of the base material, but which hopefully will be just on fiberglass, but there is some metal back there, so we want to keep the metal covered. Then, just for like funsies, here's a GM brown color. What is this? This is brown metallic. This is a GM color. I think you guys would recognize this off like the C10 trucks that they had. Those work trucks that were like brown and beige. That's that brown. Anyways, I like this brown because this can be kind of spotted in places with the red, and this kind of gives you additional colors of weathering. So that's why that is. But basically, we're going to be playing around with these three colors first as our bases, and then we will have top coat, and we will use our sandpaper or our abrasives to kind of get through. Now, if you need help, because not only will this help clean, this will help you cut through the paint faster. If you really want to cut through the paint, you could use acetone, but that almost kind of like, removes it quick. So we want to be careful about this. All right, let's kind of get into what do we need to repair. So on both sides of the car, this is a trouble area. So you have a bunch of chips here. You know, just chip, 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 chip. And obviously you can see how it looks like I got shot by a shotgun with birdshot. So we're going to basically be addressing that. That's the main one. Looking at the roof, trying to see if maybe like we have any troubled spots like that. Maybe we might put something on that. For the most part, we're pretty good. There's usually some paint missing through here. That's hard to maintain, but we might try to like mask this trim piece off and just try to lay in some paint to help seal up. I'm usually not too worried about the front bumper. Front bumper's entirely fiberglass, so there's no risk there. Not too much risk. Yeah. See, there's a spot we can touch up. I think we're for the most part good. But yeah, let's same thing on this side. You could just see it's totally peppered. So we'll fix that. Oh, and this little door crack looks like it's been dinged up a couple times. No problem. Yeah. Same with this guy. Looks like some paint's kind of getting through. Alright. So, while that's drying, we can at least do some prep work. Alright, so I got that GM brown color. We're going to start laying down some base coat. Oh, let's cover up the wheel. Just cover it. There we go. Nice, good layers. So we're going to use this brown as our first layer. All right, let's get the Wimbledon white. And this will take long to kind of like get covered and get just straight up white. But, you know, maybe we don't try so hard on some areas, right? Because then that's less sanding we would have to do. All right, so we're gonna go on some red onto our quarter panel. Oh yeah, look at that red. All right, let's let that dry. Let's go hit the other side. Left-handed. You should paint it. Paint it real nice. Oh, I am painting it. Okay. And I did it, so I think I did it. I think I'm nice. You know, because I'm nice, it's nice. Alright, so I think this is the last. Oh no! Alright, so washcloth, isopropyl alcohol. Never happened. Watch out, dumbass. Alright, there we go. Okay, do over. That one. Okay. Alright, last pass of the Wimbledon white here. Yeah. Done. I think I got a silver. Practically empty. What is this? Fine silver birch. Alright. We're going to play around with some paint. Because for here, see if we can't add some cool factor to it. Yeah. Put some streaks. We can make them. So you can, because we're going to order some more. Gold. We're going to put a little bit of a streak over here too. For funsies. So like when we go to bleed the paint through, and when we go do our patina part, you know, I kind of want different colors to show through. Not just red. Alright, the tip on this Wimbledon white can is a little janky, but it's still full. So we're going to use the most out of this. Yeah, I'm not wasting this can. I tried pulling off the cap. I can't swap the caps. Alright, so if you're stubborn like me and you don't want to waste that paint, it is going to come out kind of like this, where it's a little blotchy, like blah. All that's going to do is cause more work to smooth it out, and then you to put just a fine coat on top, because spray pattern's atrocious. But this guy has that spray tip that works. This is what's going to, we'll use the remaining of this to get that top, you know, pretty coat, so that it looks right, and then we'll begin the weathering. But for the most part, we need to put a couple of layers of the Wimbledon white so that you can get this kind of effect where it's a Wimbledon white, but then, you know, it's been cut into because of debris or racing or weathering or whatever the case may be. So that's the goal. That's dry. Let's grab some the 150 grit, because we're not cutting down too deep, and kind of see if we can move some of these out. All right, didn't film the spray of that last coat of Wimbledon white, but as you can see, it was a nice, heavy, even coat, so that it kind of it hides the blotchiness a bit. Same with the other side. We're gonna try and blend in through here, but as you can see, nice even coats, and we're about to get into sanding. Okay, now that kid has no more concrete to bounce his aluminum bat off of, we can continue. The guy was just like, bing, bing. Anyways, let's section this off, get some alcohol soaked onto it, get the scrubbing. Here's the good part. Here's how Brian gets that signature patina look on the Mustang, right here. Some red Scotch-Brite, and I like to just basically rub into this thing. So already, boom, working. It's working already. Right there, boom, see, coming right there. And it's really easy because when you are a body tech guy, this is the exact thing that you train not to do. Something like this line, plus it being on the metal part of the car, I want to make sure I take my time, because if you use the alcohol, it might be too aggressive too fast. Nice dark line that kind of highlights the body line right there. And it kind of flows and follows with the rest of the forward part of the car. The effect of the alcohol, just gotta hit it. You see how fast it just takes away that layer of paint. That's why you don't do those on the high points, because because the high point already would be like a concentration of pressure, and you don't want that. Not for what you're doing, because it would take away too much paint too fast. So the idea and the direction of the patina is to be as if airflow is coming over this fender and sweeping up and above the spoiler. That was kind of the direction, because if you have debris, if you got rocks, if things were hitting here and going over, just blowing over, that's kind of the natural direction of how this might weather, is hit it and go and roll over, go toward the back. So I really don't want to put too much. I like how this highlights this curve, because it's a white car. Sometimes photographs are hard to capture the features, the body features of a white car. So what I might do is just make sure you can see this fender. It has a little bit of color, a little bit of that weathering, and now I feel pretty comfortable, because one, you can kind of see this pocket, you can see this flare. So let's try and see if we can't get something similar to the other side, but we don't want to also perfect mirror of this car, because cars never weather perfectly even. So let's move to the other side. Hit these peaks, get those colors coming through. What you need to keep in mind, it doesn't need to be perfect, okay? not going to go and curveball around it so that it, you know, goes around the wheel. So keep that in mind. You got to think everything's going to flow to a straight line, and yeah, everything's going to flow to a straight line. Now I do have some exposed weathering back here. I might try to see if I can find a way to make a natural tie to it, because it's there. I didn't cover it up with paint. So if any of you guys were ever thinking, curious as to how I got the patinaed look that I have on my car, and you desire that appearance, that aesthetic, this is exactly how I did it, and it doesn't cost that much. I painted the whole car for only a couple $100, okay? And I say a couple $100 because yes, it is not a $200 paint job, okay? It does take a little bit. Now, granted, if I did probably stick to one particular color, it probably would be cheaper because I'd be buying less paint cans and I'd be spending less time at it. Now, all that you need, okay, for what I just did is isopropyl alcohol, okay? It's not that bad. Doesn't cut that deep whenever you use it. It will break down that paint, but it doesn't like remove it, kill it, and really destroy it like acetone would. Acetone is going to be much more aggressive than isopropyl alcohol. This is the 99-cent one. I got it off Amazon. I think they're like $2 for every one of these bottles. The paint that I'm using, Duplicolor Perfect Match. You basically can go, I know some of the Amazon sellers have the options where you can look through any brand. You can look through Chrysler colors, GM colors, Toyota colors, Ford colors, and you can pick out the exact paint color you'd like to have. Now, from can to can, the paint variances and the different shades are pretty darn close. So there was no worry about buying one can of Wimbledon white and it looking drastically different than the other Wimbledon white. Now, in this particular scenario where we basically patched up a section of the car, you're going to notice older paint and newer paint, just like any other, you know, paint job. Unless you fade it correctly, you spend the time. We didn't really do that. We're not that good. But these cans of paint, they range from like $14 a can to $18 a can on Amazon. So choose wisely, don't go hog wild, but for the most part, they do really well. This one can will probably paint one panel of this car. Like at least 2 coats. At least 2 coats. One panel, probably 2 coats, maybe a little left over. So just keep that in mind if you are trying to figure out if you're trying to paint a whole car. That, yeah, well, Ryan said that this one can paints one large Mustang panel, okay, with 2 coats. Now, if you want to know the other colors that I used Sunburst Gold, Toreador, red, and then that brown is a GM metallic brown. So that's the colors that I use. I use a red Scotch Brite pad. That's what I use to kind of cut and take my time to kind of etch down, slowly wear away, and get these weathered looks on each panel, on each of those spots that you're seeing on the car. That's done with the red Scotch Brite pad. As far as prep goes, I use 80 grit to, if I need an aggressive and very quick and just absolutely start destroying and taking away paint very quickly for the prep portion of it. And then if I just need to fine tune things, I'll go to like 150 grit. And then as soon as you get above 150 grit, where you're going to like 200s and 300s and 400s and all that stuff, that kind of starts getting to like polishing and stuff, or what I would consider polishing. And that's not necessary. You just need probably the 80 grit, 150 grit. That'll get you a nice prep. That'll get you a smooth enough surface where the paint's going to get sprayed, level out, and give you a nice clean look on that. So And in the video we basically accomplished fixing that quarter panel, because boy, those rocks really hit that and put a beating on it. So it makes me feel good that the appearance of that quarter panel is going to look a little better when we go to car shows, when we go to other events, when we go take photos. Now that quarter panel doesn't look like someone took a shotgun with birdshot and shot my quarter panel. So I appreciate you guys watching. Hit the like button. Comment down below. Is there a technique that I could probably take advantage of to get a cooler look, a different look? Is there something that you've learned from this process of how I patina my car? And if it's your first time here, hit the like button down below. I don't know what was going on with my camera. I don't know what was going on with my camera. But if it's your first time here, I don't know why my camera keeps doing that. If it's your first time here, why don't you think of subscribing, and I will see you guys later. You gonna stop recording now? Huh? All right.